Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.
Roach, and I listen to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Indeed, you are people who listen to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. My name is Mashal St. Patrick Cute, one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, and welcome back. Welcome back. I was about to say welcome back to another episode, another edition, but this is a live show. I haven't done one of these ones in a while. So welcome back to a live Caribbean Cricket Podcast show or Caribbean Cricket Podcast edition. We're looking at the Zimbabwe versus West Indies test match. It starts in basically 12 hours. Starts about just over 12 hours from now. And this particular episode is really just to look at who should play. Who should play in that first test match. So this isn't supposed to be a long show, you know. We're just supposed to look at the different permutations. I'll take some comments. I might do some live kind of people jump in on the live as well. I don't know. I haven't really decided. What I do know is this, though, people. This cannot run longer than 1 hour. Maximum. It's got to finish by, at the very latest, 8 o'clock UK time. You lot love to get started on this and then still have me here 2 hours from now, but that won't happen. If you're new to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, people, let me put the thing on the screen. You can see it scrolling below. Follow Caribbean Cricket Podcast at Carib Cricket on Twitter and Instagram. Like, share, subscribe. If you're watching this video, there's apparently 23 of you live at this moment in time. All of you should have pressed like by now. And if you're brand new, make sure you press subscribe. We're on the road to 5K. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron, www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Or you can do a super chat, to be fair. That's one way of supporting as well. Most of you, wait a minute. This could never, listen, if it probably is Josh, you know, and if it is Josh, you're in my team. It's okay. You're in the team. But check out the hats, people. Brand new Caribbean Cricket Podcast test caps. I need to get the 11 caps out there to Zimbabwe so the players can wear it on the field. One day Caribbean Cricket Podcast will sponsor the West Indies team one of these days, you know. So if you're in the UK, if you're anywhere really, £18 if you're a patron for the Caribbean Cricket Podcast maroon test cap, 23 if you're not. I don't know about overseas yet. I'm planning, I think I've got like 6 orders from the States, which I've got to send off tomorrow. So it depends on who I can get shipped with. We're having a bit of issues in the UK at the moment about shipping things out, but it looks like I can ship them for like £5 extra, I think, to the United States. So take that as kind of your guide for how much it must cost to ship them elsewhere in the world. But UK people, it's easy. Get at me. Some of you already have them. A couple people hit me up earlier on and said the caps have turned up at their house. So yeah, get at me, people. Anyways, let's get into this. Zimbabwe versus West Indies, people. Who is going to play in the first test? Big up everybody who's in the live. I should probably bring some comments up. Who's here? Fireball is here. Javid is here. All the long time CCP fans are here. Josh De Silva is here. Carl Harris is here. So yeah, all the Richard is here. Some of you are watching this probably. Do you know I've timed this perfectly because it's tea time in most of the domestic games. So if you don't know what's going on at this moment in time, Guyana bowled out Barbados for I think about 220, so they must have a lead of about 140. I think they're like 5 for 1 at this moment in time in their second innings. Trinidad are trying to hold on for a draw, although Tion Webster is playing a 20-20 innings at the moment. Trinidad, I think, need another, 212 runs in the final session? Surely they're not going to do that. I think it's Tion and Jason Mohammed are at the crease. TNT have lost 4 wickets, so that's likely to be a draw, I think, versus Windward Islands Volcanoes. And Jamaica what just happened there? Leeward Islands took a 30-run lead against Jamaica, and I think they're currently something like 110 for 4 in their second innings. So big up anybody who's watching the Red Bull games, the domestic season. All of the games are interestingly poised at this particular moment in time, and big up anybody who has stepped away from that to come listen to this. Rising Bowler's got his CCP cap. Big up Rising Bowler. Get following Rising Bowler's account, people. This guy's going to play for West Indies one day. I hope he's picking West Indies anyways. He could play for England as well, but I'm sure he's going to pick West Indies. So people, let's get into it. So the test team. The last time West Indies played Zimbabwe. So where's my notes? Six of the current squad have played in Zimbabwe before. We went there in 2017 for a 2-match test series and won that one. Oh my God, what have I done? Sorry, people, just had YouTube open in the background. 6 of the current squad have played in Zimbabwe before in 2017. Craig Brathwaite, Roston Chase, Jermaine Blackwood, Jason Holder, Kimar Roach, and Shannon Gabriel. So all have toured before. So it's not like this squad is facing completely. It's not like they're all facing alien conditions like the majority of them did in Australia. Sorry. And on that previous tour, of those people that I mentioned, Roston Chase averaged 52. He got 150. Sorry, people, something's in my throat. I need to get some water. Highest score of 95. Jason Holder averaged 47. He scored 100 in the second test, 110. Shane Darrich is in there. Craig Brathwaite averaged 40. He had a highest score of 86 across the 2 test matches. And Dads had a bad go of it. He only averaged 3, to be fair. So Dads has to make up for lost time in terms of performance in Zimbabwe. In terms of the bowlers, Kimar Roach last time out took 8 wickets at 17. He had a successful tour. Shannon took 5 at 34. Jason, Craig, and Roston, I mean, they took some wickets, but they went a fair lick in terms of averages. So Kimar has had success, and Shannon's kind of had some modest success in Zimbabwe before. Obviously, last week as well, we played a tour game against the Zimbabwe 11, call it like a President's 11 if you must. And a reminder about that game, we made 517 for 8 when we went into bat first up. Craig Brathwaite scored 116, not out, retired, not out. Josh scored a century, retired, not out, like an even century. Tej scored 46. Mayers scored 46. Devon Thomas scored 49. Roston got 87, not out. In response, the Zimbabwe 11 were bowled out for 122. Alzari took 2 for 12. Shannon took 2 for 21. Mayers got a wicket from 1 over. Jason got 1 for 2. Multi got 2 for 24. And Roston Chase 1 for... Sorry, even Jermaine Blackwood got a wicket. But Roston Chase got 1 for 17. Kimar Roach bowled 11 overs, none for 25. And then in our second innings, we were only able to bat for 27 more overs, 82 for 2. Tej retired, not out on 23. Jermaine Blackwood 34, not out. Reefer was out for 1 and Bonner out for 13. People, get in the comments. What do we do? What do we do with regards to the team that plays? I mean, everyone get their pen? Everyone get their pen and paper out. Everyone get their pen and paper out. You need your pad and your pen and paper for this one when you construct the side. We know that Craig and Tej are opening, so we know that that's a given. That's a given. So we all know that. There's nobody in this live right now who's thinking, boy, somebody else should open instead of Tej and Craig. That's a given. Okay. So the first conundrum, therefore, is the order of the next 4 batters. That's the first conundrum, people. So what I'm going to do first things first is just throw out the options, and then you lot can start getting at me in the comments. There are 4 spots. So can you see my piece of paper? No, you can't even see the writing. Sorry. So there are 4 spots: 3, 4, 5, and 6. Before you start telling me about who should bat at 3 and who should bat at 4, the actual first conundrum people need to work out is, where is Jason Holder batting? That's the first conundrum. Before you start throwing me your teams, where is Jason Holder batting? In your side, is Jason Holder batting at 6 or is he batting at 7? And wherever Jason is batting, you know that Josh is coming 1 underneath him. So if Jason is 6, Josh is 7, which means you're playing extra bowlers. If Jason is 7, then Josh is 8, and you're playing 3 frontline bowlers plus Jason. So the first thing, before everyone starts jumping about 3 and 4 and 5, is where are you playing Jason? Because that is key to the fundamental balance of the side. Get at me in the comments, people. Think about that first before you start telling me who's at number 3. That's how you should be thinking about constructing your side. Jason's position is the most key position in the squad. Is he a top 6 batter, or are you having him at 7? And does that mean you want Josh at 8? Or do you want Josh ahead of Jason? Do you want Josh ahead of Jason? Josh just scored an even century. Do you want Josh to come 7 and Jason 8, or Josh 6 and Jason 7? So get at me, people. Get at me, people. Where we putting Big Jace in the side? Because we have to start with the people who are definitely playing. Craig's definitely playing, and Tage is definitely playing, and Jason and Josh are definitely playing. So that's pretty key for me. See, some of you saying, so Lukin says Holder at 7, which means you have Josh at 8. Shubham says Holder at 6, which means you have Josh at 7. See, right. Arian says Holder at 8, which means he's got Josh at, well, he can't have Josh at 9. That means he's got Josh at 7. Colin says Holder at 8. So what? Josh is at 7 then. This is what I'm saying, people. Think about what you're saying. Wherever you have Holder, you are taking Holder and Josh at the exact. They're in the same block, right? So wherever you put Holder, you have to have Josh. So think about that first, please. Please get in the comments and let me know. Cosme says Holder before Josh. Exactly. So where's Holder going? Where's he going? 6 or 7? See, I'm here to test you lot. You lot can't just come with your chat today. I'm testing you. This ain't me telling you what the team's going to be. This is me testing your analysis. So we start with Holder. Aaron says, yes, Holder must go 7. Tom says, Holder hasn't hit a test 50 since Pakistan 2020. Why should he bat any higher than 8? Yeah, there's reason for that. But remember, that's why Santoki and I, in one of our recent episodes, is it the West Indies on 99.94 episode? We're recording one of those tomorrow, by the way, live. Check that out. That'll be at 11:30 in the morning. So check that one out tomorrow. But yes, Santoki and I said this is a big tour for Jace. He's not had a good time of it in Test cricket as of late. This is a big series for him, along with South Africa, obviously. Sachin says Holder at 8. Lukin says Josh 6, Holder at 7. Tom says Josh 6, Chase Mayer 7, Holder 8. But check this out. That's not going to happen. So as much as I'm saying to you lot, where you're going to bat these people, that's definitely not going to happen. So now I think you have to think about wherever you're batting Jace, what do you think's going to happen? So you lot might say, Josh should go, Jason should go 8, but that's not going to happen. So now think about what's likely to happen as well, and then think about the construction of your side. I'm here to challenge you all today, people. You must have thought this was an episode where I just chat and go, this is going to be the team. No. If it's a live show, we got to do this one different. We got to come differently today. So let me just, for argument's sake, say Holder 7, although I think... let me just say, for argument's sake, Holder 7 and Josh at 8. Although I personally wouldn't do that. If you want my take on it, with respect to Zimbabwe, and I say this with full respect, Zimbabwe are one of the weaker full member nations, right? So when you play the weaker side, shouldn't Josh and Jason be batting higher than they normally do? If we're playing like Australia, England, India, etc., yeah, Holder 7, Josh 8. But against the weaker side, shouldn't they be batting higher? Because then it gives you more bowling options. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there before people start saying 7 and 8, etc., etc. Jason shouldn't be in the team to bowl 25 overs, is basically my take on it. I think I've always said Jason should be given more responsibility with the bat, and that at this stage of his career, we're not expecting to throw, we shouldn't be, expecting to throw the ball to Jason and say, go on, lead from the front and bowl 25 overs and work yourself into the ground. That shouldn't be Holder's career anymore. You've got Alzari Joseph, Shannon Gabriel, and Kemar Roach. Why should Jason be bowling so many overs? So this is why I'm saying you have to think about Jason's role in the side at this stage of his career. Just throwing that out there for people. Lukin makes a good point, though. Remember, against Australia, Chase was at 8. So let's move to the next complexity of the side. So I've thrown that out there to you lot to think about it from a where does Holder go, where does Josh go, right? And this is why I'm going to be West Indies selector one day, because these are the type of things that the selector should be thinking about when they're picking teams and when they're doing selection. It's not just pick a man. Think about how you're constructing your side. So here's my next thing now for you lot in the chat. Where you putting Roston Chase? And check this out. Roston Chase is 100% playing in the test match tomorrow. He has to. He has to. And why does he have to? One, he's been to Zimbabwe before. Two, he's had success in Zimbabwe before. Three, Roston's flexibility. Start again. Roston is lucky to be back in the test team. Let me just get that out there. He's lucky to be back in the team. But you know what? You make your own luck. He went to Australia. He was the third best batter in the West Indies side in Australia. So now he deserves his spot as far as I'm concerned. Roston's going to play against Zimbabwe, or he should play versus Zimbabwe. And the reason why Roston must play is because he offers the flexibility of West Indies being able to bowl a frontline spinner, which is likely to be Gudakesh Motie, and then Roston as the backup man. Roston should never have been the frontline spinner Australia. Whoever made that decision in terms of selectors, that was dunce. That was dunce maneuvers, right? Whatever. Roston's back in his normal slot now. Secondary bowler, and you have a frontline spinner in front of him. So Roston has to play as the second spinner. My question then is this. If a frontline spinner is coming in, Roston can't bat at number 8. So where you putting Roston in your side? Get at me in the comments now, people. Where's Roston playing in the side? What position do you have him in the side? You lot will see where I'm going with all of this. You know, I'm showing you selector mash right now. I'm showing you selector Mashal St. Patrick Hewitt. Where is Roston Chase batting in your side? What's his position? Well, let's see what people are saying. Remain says Chase at 5. Who's this? Tom says Chase at 6. Carl says Chase deserves to be up the batting. He has to come good with recent reliability, which is what we need. Aaron says Chase at 5. And Mayers at 6. I'm going to get to Carl Mayers in a minute. Yeah, Javid's right. Motie isn't bad with the bat, to be fair, but he's not batting 5. How do I say that name? Kanyasani? Have I said that right? Chase batting at number 5. Cosme says Chase not in the side. I was waiting for the first person to say that. I hear you, Cosme, but I think Chase is in the side. I think he makes the side. I think because of his skill set, he has to make the side. Last time out in Zimbabwe, I know it was, 6 years ago, but he has experience of the conditions. He averaged 52 and he took 3 wickets, granted at 49. But he's just come off a warm-up game where what did he score in? Was it 87? He scored 87 not out in the warm-up game, and he was the third best batter in Australia. He's in the side. Chase is getting in the side. And here's the thing you have to remember as well. We're playing at the Queen Sports Club. That deck takes spin. Have you looked? Right. Get in the chat. Who took the most wickets the last time West Indies were in Zimbabwe, people? Without looking it up, who took the most wickets the last time we were in Zimbabwe? Come on, quick. First person to comment in the chat. Who took the most wickets last time out? Come. Most wickets. Who took it? 2017. Don't look it up on Google. Who took it? Who took the majority of the wickets? Who was our best bowler last time in Zimbabwe? Correct. Seamus, Javon, Lukin, Devendra Bishu. The Queen Sports Club takes spin. This is why I think Chase gets in the side. You're going to play a frontline spinner, which is Motie. Motie's 100% playing. You're going to play a frontline spinner, which is Motie. You have to play a second spinner. I don't think they'll play a second frontline spinner. I think they'll play Roston Chase. And then remember that if needed, Craig Brathwaite will turn his arm over if he has to as well. So Chase is getting in the side. I don't buy that. We're not going in with 2 left arm spinners, Warwican and Motie. It's one of them, and it'll be Motie, right? And then Chase will do the backup spin, and Craig will throw some lollipops or bowl some lollipops when he has to. Okay, so Chase is in my side. So that's what I'm saying to people. Where are you batting Chase? I will be shocked if I wake up tomorrow, God willing, and Chase isn't in the side. I'll be shocked. Okay, so this is my team so far based on what you lot are saying. Craig and Tage opening, Holder at 7, Josh at 8. You lot have said Chase is going at 5. Okay, cool. Next question then. Next question. That only leaves 3 bowlers. That you lot can't see my notes. Where's the hell did I do you? Yeah, you lot. Yeah, there. Oh, you can see it. There you go. There. See, I'm writing the notes as you lot are going. So this is you lot have made this team, not me. Craig, Tage, Chase at 5, Holder at 7, Josh at 8. So my next question now for the selection analysis. Desmond Haynes needs to bring me into the selection room, you know. He needs to bring me in there. And what's his name? Roland Butcher. Next question then is who are your 3 frontline bowlers? That only leaves 3 slots for bowlers. And if you're looking at that going, what do you mean only 3 slots for bowlers? You lot just said Holder at 7, Josh at 8, right? Or whichever way round. That only leaves 3 slots for bowlers. 9, 10, and 11. So tell me how you're fitting Alzari Joseph, Kimar Roach, Shannon Gabriel, and Gudakesh Moulty into 3 spots. Who's not getting in the 3 spots then, people? Tell me now. Get in the chat. Who's not getting in? There's only 3 bowling spots left. So who are you leaving out of Alzari, Gudakesh, Kimar, and Shannon? Tell me now. Get in the chat and tell me now. Because some of you probably in your team are like, oh, no, I'm playing Shannon and Roach. What are you? So who are you dropping then? You see? This is Selector Mashal St. Patrick Hewitt we're talking about now. This is how you construct a side with all of these type of questions. Right, so what are we saying? Cosme says maybe Gabriel sits because we're already worried about depth for pacers, and I think it's a very good argument from Cosme. We've got 2 back-to-back tests, then we go straight to South Africa for a warm-up game and 2 back-to-back tests. The rational thinking, Cosme, is that you rotate Roach and Gabriel, certainly versus Zimbabwe. That's the rational thought process. Or you rotate your seamers in general. I think it would be foolish, knowing that we have no backup pacer, to go in with Roach and Gabriel and Alzari Joseph and risk one of them breaking down and then have to fly a man from the 4-day championship to suddenly come and replace them. Okay, so I'm with Cosme on that, but let's see what other people are saying. Sachin says Alzari, Moulty, and then one of Roach or Gabriel. Shubham says Roach, Gabriel, Moulty. So what, you're dropping Alzari Joseph? Not happening. Alzari Joseph is 1000% playing if he's fit. If he's fit. That's, I just hasten to add, if he's fit. Javon says Joseph, Moulty, and Gabriel, so he's dropping Roach. Lukin says Roach, Alzari, Moulty, so he's dropping Shannon, or not playing Shannon, I should say. Tom says Moulty, Joseph, Gabriel needs the extra pace. You know that the warm-up game, that Zimbabwe warm-up game. One thing I did notice is that they struggled with the heat that Shannon and Alzari bowl. The one thing that Shannon and Alzari can do is they can crank it up to 90 plus, drop some short balls, and have Zimbabwe batters hopping about the place. So you have to bear that in mind for Shannon as well. Akeem says you play Roach or Gabriel, not both. Charlie says Shannon can't play all the games on the tour anyway, so that must mean he's telling Shannon to sit. Charles says leave out Roach. Sachin says you rotate Roach and Gabriel for either test. Yep, I'm pretty much in agreement with that. So Tom says if Chase and Mayers both play, we can afford the risk of Shannon. Yeah, because there's enough bowling to rotate round. Yeah, I hear that. What have we got here? Moulty, Alzari, and Roach play the first test. Seamus says exactly my thoughts. Gabriel plays first, Roach plays the second, or the other way around, whichever one. What are we saying here? Ramas has given his full side, but I'll come back to that, Ramas, because I want to ask you some next stuff. Romain says Roach has proven to not be effective playing away from the Caribbean, so he sits. I hear you, but last time out in Zimbabwe, Kimar Roach took 8 wickets at 17 apiece. So whilst I hear you in general, I think there are certain places, particularly the subcontinent, where Kimar is less effective. But based on data and stats, that's not backing up Kimar being less effective in Zimbabwe. So I hear you, but I don't think that holds true for Zimbabwe, though. So that there's that to consider as well. Based on what most people have said, though, so what's that? We got, I think Alzari will bat ahead of Gudakesh because he's more experienced at the test level. So Alzari number 9, Gudakesh Moulty number 10, and then who plays the first test? Okay, I'm just going to leave on my notes that it's Roach or Gabriel. And I think based on the consensus of what you lot are saying, can we see this now? Can we see if my notes are coming back up there? You can see my notes. Where's it? Okay, there you go. Can you see my notes? So all we've got left now, look at this light mashing up my writing, trying to get on the screen. All we've got left now on the screen then is Craig Tage 1 and 2, blank for 3, blank for 4, Chase at 5, blank for 6, Holder at 7, Josh at 8, Joseph at 9, Gudakesh at 10, Roach or Gabriel at 11. Okay. Now, Tim Dell has then made a good point. Where is it? I agree with this point. If the South Africa tests are the priority, which they are, we can still make the World Test Championship final. We've got, I think, a 0.6% chance. So we're still in with a shout for the World Test Championship final. So the South Africa tests are a priority, right? I didn't even laugh when I made that point. But the South Africa tests are a priority. And Tim's right. If they are, should we save Shannon's extra pace for those 2 tests in South Africa? Arguably, yes. So it'll be interesting to see what the think tank is, how the think tank approaches this. Based on some of the stuff I've seen from West Indies in the past, they'll probably play both Roach and Gabriel, and then one of them will break down by the time we get to South Africa. That would be the dunce way to do it. But I'd like to think there's some actual planning going into how to rotate and save the bowlers. Ideally, they would have taken another seamer on this tour, and therefore that seamer could have played in one of these Zimbabwe matches, etc. But whatever, it is what it is. Yeah, so where are we going next? Right, so that leaves 3-4-6. Now, 3-4-6 arguably should be relatively straightforward based on this team you lot have got. 3-4-6. So already in this team that you lot have provided me, we've already got 5 bowlers. Joseph, Gudakesh, Moti, one of Roach or Gabriel are your frontline bowlers. Holder is your, well, can play at any, well, he can bowl at any stage of the innings, but let's just say Holder is your 4th bowler. Then you've got Roston as your 2nd spinner. So that's already 5 bowlers that we can utilize. 3-4-6, in theory, 3-4-6, and Shubham has got there first, should just be Bonner, Mayers, and Blackwood in whatever particular order you want them. So my next question then is this. Bonner is obviously going to be number 3. And somebody said earlier on Devon Thomas should play, and I hear that. I definitely hear that. And don't rule out Devon Thomas playing, you know, people. Don't rule that out. I wouldn't be surprised if Devon Thomas plays tomorrow, you know. But the only reason why I wouldn't be surprised is, when else are you going to give him a chance? Like, obviously, he got the game against the 2nd test against Australia because we had so many injuries and this, that. But again, and I say this with full respect to Zimbabwe, if you don't let Devon Thomas get a test versus Zimbabwe, you're unlikely to let him get a test versus South Africa unless there's injuries, right? So I do also think there has to be some consideration to when else are players going to get experience, right? And again, this is why I'm saying certain man should have been taken on this tour of Zimbabwe so they got a chance of test cricket in a relatively unstressful environment. It don't count for anything. It's not part of the World Test Championship. A man could have got a goal and we could have had a look at him. Granted, of course, players are playing in the 4-day championship, so they're playing some cricket anyways. But I just think there's a missed opportunity there. So there's an argument to say Thomas gets a chance. I don't think he will per se, right? And the reason why I don't think he will is Blackwood is 1000% playing. Blackwood's playing because he's the vice captain. And what did he make in that 2nd innings? He was unbeaten. Was it 37, 39? Something like that? 34. 34 not out off 49 balls. Blackwood's definitely going to get a goal, right? So my next question then to you lot is, where's Blackwood batting? Is he batting 4? In fact, actually, 4, 5, and 6 people, because Bonner's going to play number 3. If Bonner's playing, he's batting at 3. So that's pretty much a lock. So my next question to you lot then is this. How does your 4, 5, and 6 go? Chase probably has to split Bonner and Mayers. Chase probably has to split Blackwood and Mayers because Blackwood and Mayers are the 2 most counter-attacking batters in the top 6. Who do you bat at 4? Who do you bat at 6? Blackwood or Mayers 4, 6? Is it Blackwood 4 and Mayers 6? Is that straightforward? Is that how we're going to do it? What would you lot do? Blackwood 4, Mayers 6, or Mayers 4 and Blackwood 6? Yeah, because everyone's saying Blackwood, Chase, Mayers. Some might say Chase at 4, you know. Anyways, I guess most of you are saying Blackwood 4, Chase at 5, Mayers at 6. And then I guess my last question for you lot to consider. So this is your side. Sorry, this is the side that you lot have given me. Craig at 1, Tage at 2, Bonner 3, Blackwood 4, Chase 5, Mayers 6, Holder 7, Josh 8, Alzari 9, Gudakesh 10, Roach or Gabriel 11. That's the side you lot are effectively saying to me. So, and we're making good time here, people. Might be an end in a bit. So I'm going to throw you 2 more conundrums to consider. Get in the chat. Let me know what you think about this. If you play Roach and Gabriel, who would you drop? Let's just, argument's sake, let's just say they play Roach and Gabriel. I don't think they will, but they may do. Let's just say that's what they're thinking. Who are you dropping if they do that? One of the batters would have to come out. Who are you dropping if they go in with Roach or Gabriel? That's just want to throw that conundrum in. Who would you drop if they choose to do that? Who's not playing? Cosme says it has to be Chase who holds the drop if Roach and Gabriel play. Is it not Mayers? So right. So there you go. So Gerard said it would have to be Mayers who holds the drop. That's what I think. I think if they play Roach and Gabriel, Mayers has to hold the drop, does he not? That's what and then that's why I said to you lot right at the very beginning, where's Holder batting in your side? Because there's an argument to say Holder goes up to 6, Josh goes at 7, Alzari would bat 8. Now, lots of you will say there's no way Alzari is a test match number 8. Alzari can bat people. Just sometimes he just loses his head, but he can bat, you know. It's just worth people thinking about that. So I'm just wondering if that's coming into their thinking. So you lot are saying one of Chase or Mayers would have to hold the drop if Roach and Gabriel play. And then last one, if Devon Thomas does play, who's not playing then? Let's say they go in with Devon Thomas. Who's not playing in the top 6? Who would you lot drop or tell to sit if Devon Thomas gets a pick? I'm waiting to see some answers. Let's say the think tank is saying, you know what, we got to give Devon Thomas a play. So who are you not picking if Devon Thomas gets a play, people? Shubham says Bonner has to sit down if Devon Thomas plays. Cosme says it's got to be Bonner or Blackwood. Oh, sorry, it would have to be Bonner because Blackwood's not getting the airs on drop. He's vice captain. Tom says it has to be Carl Mayers. Satcher makes a good point. I forgot about Thomas's bowling, you know. There's some who would argue that Thomas is effectively an all-rounder. That's why Tom must be saying that Mayers is the like. I think that's why Tom is saying Mayers is the like for like, because Devon Thomas actually bowled in Australia, actually bowled better than everybody else in the second test. Tim says drop Chase if Thomas plays. It's interesting. It's just worth thinking about, people, because as much as we're saying that the 11 seems pretty straightforward, you have to wonder about those other conundrums, okay? What if they want to play Devon Thomas, who holds the drop? If they want to play Roach and Gabriel, who holds the drop? So it's just worth considering those conundrums as well. The one thing that I would say that we can probably be clear about... Oh, no, hold on. Let me throw this in there as well. Let me just throw this one in there as well. Last one, people. Then I'll try and bring this one to life, to an end. And by the way, if you're in this live at the moment and you haven't pressed like, do me a favor and press the like button. All of that helps the algorithms, people. I don't know how many likes there are because I'm in the StreamYard studio, so I don't actually have YouTube open. It says on my screen that 55 of you are currently in the live, so I'm hoping that there's 55 likes. Who can tell me how many likes there are? Someone tell me how many likes. Is it like 15 or something? There's always the likes never match the amount of people that are in the live. You don't do me dirty, boy. Just got me out here talking, but don't want to press like on the video. Press like, people, share and subscribe, all of that jazz. Last one, last conundrum. What Sachin says, 23 likes. Remain says 11. I don't know how many it is, but press like, people. Right. So, last conundrum. Jamel Warrican in the warm-up game. So Gudakesh Multi bowled, 14 overs, 2 for 24, 8 maidens. Went an economy of 1.71. Jamel Warrican bowled 9 overs, 6 maidens, none for 11, economy 1.22. So there is this last conundrum. If they went in with 3 spinners, let's say they pitch up now at the Queen Sports Club tomorrow, and they look at the deck and they're like, rah, this is taking spin. This test match is a spinning wicket. They would then have to decide, is it enough to go in with Chase and Multi? And they may well say, actually, this is a spinner's wicket. This isn't a pace wicket. If Warrican was to come in alongside Multi and Chase, who do you drop then? Do you just drop Roach and Gabriel and only play Joseph and Holder and Mayers as your spin? Who do you drop if Warrican? That's the last conundrum I'm just throwing out there. If Warrican was to come in and they went with Multi and Warrican, who are you telling to sit then? I want to hear this last conundrum. Who would you tell to sit? See what people say for this. Who would you tell to sit for this? Satcher makes a good point. Blackwood, Craig, and Bonner. Bonner's leg spin, I forgot about Bonner, couldn't bowl, so maybe Warrican isn't an option after all. Jitendran says drop Roach. So your number 11 would be Warrican, basically. So you don't play Roach or Gabriel. You just have Holder, Joseph, and Mayers as your seamers, and Multi, Warrican, and Chase as your spinners. Yeah, and Cosme saying, yeah, you drop Roach or Gabriel, depending on which one's in the side. And like I say, people, I'm not saying that I expect Warrican to play, but I'm just saying that these are the selection conundrums that have to be weighed up. And this is why you often have to wait to see, well, what's the actual conditions at the ground? They could well get there tomorrow and be like, this is a turn-in rager. We have to play both Warrican and Multi. I can't see that happening. I think it would have to be something out of the ordinary for them to do that. But I think the point that, and Richard just made the point again, we forget that Brathwaite can bowl spin. I say spin. Brathwaite bowls those slow lollipops, which somehow are successful. Bonner bowls some leg spin, and even Jermaine Blackwood can bowl a bit of off spin, So they may well say we don't need to go in with 2 frontline spinners. Once you have Chase and Multi, and then the fact that you can turn to a Craig or you can turn to a Bonner or a Blackwood to get through some overs, I suspect they won't ever put themselves in a situation where you have to go in with 2 frontline spinners, which leaves Richard's point that maybe Warrican's just travelling as a reserve for Multi. Should Multi got injured, they'd want Warrican as the like-for-like replacement if Multi ever got injured. Listen, people. My timer is saying we've been chatting about this, and thank you everyone. Sorry, I should say thank you for everyone who's been throwing in the comments. This is a bit more of an unusual live. I wanted to approach this one differently. I wanted to try something different there. I just wanted to throw out the permutations. I wanted us all to think with this live as if we were selectors. So instead of me going, this is what I think the team will be. What do you think? I just wanted us to try and break it down in a different kind of style and see what you would all think if we broke it down by position and thought about people's roles and how that might affect who gets picked. Thank you for taking part in that. Like I say, I was planning that today, thinking let's try and do this one slightly differently and see how this one goes down. So thank you for that, people. Thank you for taking part in all of that. The plan going forward for the Zimbabwe series, my plan at this moment in time is that I think I'm going to try and do a live every night, UK time. It'll be some point between 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock, depending on what my day's saying. So the plan is to try and do a live every night after every day's play. If you're available, come through and we'll just chop up the day's play, look at who's done well, look at who the flops were, and look at how it's been set up for the following day. I did that for bits and pieces of the Australia series, and that seemed to work quite well in terms of people seem to like the interaction for as many of the days as we could for the Australia series. So we'll try that with Zimbabwe. I think I might be doing some I don't know yet, but there's some discussions about maybe doing some stuff with Windies Cricket, some live stuff with them as well. I'll let you know if that's going to go down. Finally, I can see some people mention it. Courtney says it here. Which channel is broadcasting the game? Right, Courtney. Those of you who are in the States, get in the chat now and let me know. This is what I've been told. I think that if you're in America, I believe the ICC TV website is showing it. If you all go and if you all type into your internet feed now, icc.tv, particularly those of you who are in the United States, you will and press on schedule, you will see that it's already scheduled up. What I don't know, and this is what I'm hoping, is that I can also play that in the UK. So for those, I don't know if any of you managed to watch the West Indies under-19s women's World Cup, right? Our team in the World Cup. All of those games were streamed on ICC TV. So that's how I managed to watch the West Indies under-19 women's side. So I'm assuming that ICC TV are going to carry Zimbabwe versus West Indies on their platform as well. So if you haven't already, go and sign up and register so that you can watch it there. The thing that I don't know is if Zimbabwe cricket or West Indies cricket, I don't know if one of them's going to stream it on YouTube. You would have thought they'd do that if they've got no real TV deal in place, but no one has confirmed that for me. Somebody earlier today sent me a message saying it's going to be on Viaplayer. So if anyone's in the UK listening to this, apparently Viaplayer or Viaplayer, which is I think it's like through Sky. That's a channel on Sky. I don't even have Sky. That's showing it. If you're in Asia, I believe Fan Code. You know that app, that Fan Code app. If you're in Asia, I believe Fan Code is showing it. And if you're in the Caribbean, I don't know about the Caribbean, you know. Somebody must be carrying it in the Caribbean. Willow? Somebody must be carrying it. I don't know about the Caribbean people. If you're in like Flow Sports, I don't know. I've got BT Sport, Javon, but BT Sport, they're not carrying it. Jitendran says Super Sports will broadcast in South Africa. That makes sense. That would make sense for those in the continent of Africa. It would make sense that Super Sports carry it. So some of you, we're just going to have to tee for stream still. So if ICC TV doesn't show it tomorrow, somebody send me a link on Twitter and tell me what stream I can teeth to try and watch the game. Well, we have to help each other out, people. If there's no actual TV link of any sorts or live link of any sorts wherever we are around the world, then somebody if you get at me in the private messages on Twitter, then I'll post it out on Twitter so that we can. In fact, no, I can't. Twitter will block the thing. Let's just see. Somebody send it to me in the morning and I'll see what I can do if ICC TV aren't showing it. Anyways, people, that's that. Thanks for coming through. That was a good discussion around who we think might play in the 11 tomorrow. Let's rally tomorrow. I'll be up. What time? I think the test match starts. Zimbabwe's 2 hours ahead. So we're looking at like an 8:30 start. I think it's an 8:30 start in the UK. So those of you in the States and the Caribbean, you're looking at like 3:30 or 4:30 in the morning. Those of us in the UK, 8:30. Those in Africa, obviously 10:30, and so on. And Asia, must be like 1 o'clock or something. So yeah, let's all rally at whatever various times we're rallying. And lastly, remember, people, the West Indies women have landed, senior side have landed in South Africa. Well, they're in South Africa, sorry. They've landed, I think where are they? Joburg. I think Paarl. They're starting their tournament in Paarl. Sorry, they're in South Africa, but they've landed at their base for the World Cup. And they will be kicking off their tournament on the 13th of February against England. So remember, we have to rally for them as well. But that's in about a week and a bit's time. So just put that in your calendar as well for the West Indies women's side. But people, I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening wherever you are in the world, or those obviously in the States and the Caribbean. It's the afternoon still, but enjoy your evening wherever you are when it comes to it. Thanks for joining the live. Before you go, press like, share this with people, tell them to have a watch about our selection conversation ahead of the first test match. And yeah, I'll see you all soon, probably tomorrow after the close, after stumps on day one. Take it easy, people. Peace.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.